Well, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
What a beautiful day to be here. What a beautiful year to celebrate. 50 years in the making. But I'm very proud to participate in this special event this morning, mobilizing Prince George's County, Prince Georgians, as we prepare for the most sacred occasion, and that's the 50th anniversary of this historic March on Washington. I do want to first thank the Prince George's County chapter of the NAACP and its president, Mr. Bob Ross, and also the chairs of the Maryland State Conference Mobilization. Your hard work and dedication to this effort deserves our support, our recognition, and our gratitude. Those who have assembled here this morning truly represent the diversity and rich history of our county, and it reminds us of those who stood for freedom and justice in that first march on Washington 50 years ago. Now, while some people can say that they were there, some of us can say that we were there in spirit, some of us can say we were just buns in the oven at that time. But it's certainly a wonderful opportunity. It's a tremendous opportunity to revisit that hot day in August 50 years ago, almost like today, to celebrate the spirit and the legacy of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and the individuals and organizations who gave rise to the civil rights movement. I stand before you today because of their sacrifice and conviction, and I am deeply, deeply, and truly grateful. We remember with ease the words of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as he announced to the nation and the world in magnificent oratory, "I have a dream." These words paved the way for the passage of the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. But I recall something else that Dr. King said that day, and that's what I want to take a moment to share with you. In that famous "I Have a Dream" speech, Dr. King posed an important question, asking, "When will you be satisfied?" It was a question, he said, being asked of those devoted to the civil rights struggle. And then he gave us an answer. "We're not satisfied until justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like a mighty stream." Here's my question for you this morning. Have we, in fact, become satisfied? Some will say that with the election of an African-American president and African-American leadership here in Prince George's County, that the victory is won and the struggle is over. Would Dr. King agree with you that now the time is satisfied and that we are complacent and comfortable? Would he say that we've reached economic parity? How would he feel about predatory lending and foreclosures? Would Dr. King find things much different from the poverty of his time upon the visit of some of today's neighborhoods? Maybe the "for whites only" signs are gone, but other not so visible signs stand in the way of fairness and equality of all. Many of us go into our estate homes with our Mercedes-Benz and what do you call those things? Lexus and Range Rovers in our driveways, and then we put our head down and walk away from the young boy who has a hoodie on. We're all upset about Trayvon Martin being killed by a white man, but we don't talk about the young men who are being killed right here in our own neighborhoods. We all want to go overseas and feed the poor, but nobody wants to go down to Kentland and get the homeless people in the woods. I'm asking you, are we satisfied today? Do we have what the economic parity? We were complaining about when whites wouldn't let us go here and go there, but yet we don't want the young people who may have their pants down or may not be dressed appropriately to come into our places of business. How many of us are complaining about them but are not taking the time to talk to them and tell them what's right to wear, or even taking them to the store to buy them a suit, a shirt and a tie and some slacks so they can go on an interview? Are we satisfied?
No. Take your time. Take your time.
We must rediscover the common purpose that brought us together 50 years ago, and the love that allowed for unity and strategy, value sharing, and the building of vibrant communities. In a sermon on March 31st, 1969 at the National Cathedral in Washington, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. made what was his last public proclamation. 4 days later, he was killed by an assassin's bullet. The sermon was called Remaining Awake in a Great Revolution. He preached, one of the great liabilities of life is that all too many people find themselves living amid a time of social change, and yet they fail to develop the new attitudes, the new mental responses that the situation demands. They end up sleeping through a revolution. That great revolution is taking place in our world, our nation, and in Prince George's County. And it begs the question, when will you be satisfied? It is not a matter of how far we have come. We've certainly come a long way since the turbulent 60s, but we still have a long path to travel to realize the dream, and Prince Georgians must remain awake during the revolution. Dr. King was a Baptist preacher, so let's go to the book of Genesis for a moment, chapter 37. And when he saw him from afar, even before he had come near them, they conspired against him to slay him. And they said to one another, behold, the dreamer cometh. Now come, therefore, let us slay him. We will cast him into some old pit and say that some evil beast has devoured him, and we shall see what becomes of his dream. Martin Luther King was a young man, college at 15. He was 26 years old, the age of my son, when his face first appeared on the cover of Time magazine. 35 when he won the Nobel Peace Prize. 39 on the afternoon of his assassination. Knowing how young he was really helps us to fully appreciate his capacity and his indignation over the absence of justice. He was an ordinary man called upon to perform an extraordinary mission. We, too, are ordinary people called to do extraordinary things, and we are desperately in need of men and women here in Prince George's County who are never satisfied. Who will stand up and speak for that which is right? And who will fight back against that which is wrong? Who, when fear comes, will reply as Martin Luther King did while in the Birmingham jail? Now is not the time. This is your rallying call. We can become a greater world, a greater nation, and an even greater Prince George's County by creating a society where all our people can reach their full potential. That is justice and righteousness. Let's all plan to participate in the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. Each one, bring one. Encourage young and old, rich and poor. We can be the fiery spirit of strength, courage, and determination that the world witnessed 50 years ago. Let us become the dream. God bless you. God bless everyone. And I expect that I will see each and every one of you on the mall.